one thing I don't get, all due respect to Salvado and his team, I do respect all of them. They made a bang up game so far, and it seems as if it's only going to get better. Why are there these long ass pauses like this? Do you ever feel like there's just no real reason for you to be alive? I don't mean in like a suicidal way. I just mean how nothing that we do is special. I don't feel that way. I feel that I accomplish a lot of good. I feel that a lot of people do. I want to do more. I feel called to do more. Just being in school or working at some job for some company or for yourself. It's like you're completely replaceable and the world wouldn't miss you if you were gone. It makes me really want to go and change the world after I graduate. But the older I get, the more I realize it's an immature frame of thinking. Nah, that's a load of crap. As cliched as this may sound, it's what I seriously believe deep down at the core of my American soul. Everyone is capable of making a difference. It's not like I can just go change the world. Like, what are the chances I'll be able to invent artificial intelligence or become president? It feels like I'm never going to make up for the heaps of resources I've spent living my life. That's why I think the key to happiness is to just be hopelessly selfish. Just to look out for oneself and those who happen to be their friends only because they grew up with them. Never mind the fact they're spending their entire life taking and consuming and never giving back. But when people realize the world would benefit more from them killing themselves, they change their whole philosophy. It's like they have to justify their reason to live by tricking themselves into thinking they're doing good. Anyway, I want to live my life desperately striving to pay back my life's worth of consumption. If I ever surpass that point, then I'm a net positive and I can die happy. Of course, even if I fail to do that, I think I would be too selfish to kill myself anyway. So much for being a good person, right? I said nothing of the sort. You're the last type of person I would ever want to kiss. This is suddenly... It's a little embarrassing. But if it's with you, I might be okay with it. Wow, sorry. I really couldn't keep a straight face there. That's the kind of thing girls say in these moments of romance games, right? Don't lie if it turned you on a little bit. I'm kidding. Well, to be honest, I do start getting all romantic when the mood is right. But that'll be our secret. Doesn't really make sense. With all due respect to Zavado, he made herself aware of the fact that this is a game and that it's potentially being recorded, the playthrough of it, and now is having her say this is a secret, unless it's done for irony. After a long day, I usually just want to sit around and do nothing. I get so burnt out having to just put on smiles and be full of energy the whole day. Sometimes I just want to get right into my pajamas and watch TV on the couch while eating junk food. It feels so unbelievably good to do that on a Friday when I don't have anything pressing the next day. Sorry, I know it's not very cute of me. Nothing can make you cute. But a late night on the couch with you, that would be a dream come true. My heart is pounding just thinking about it. Mom, do you get a good sleep? I feel as if, and I mean this as the ultimate compliment to Team Salvato, I probably won't for quite a while because of this game. It can be really hard to get enough sleep nowadays. Especially in high school when you're forced to wake up so early every day. I'm sure college is a little bit better since you probably have a more flexible schedule. Then again, I hear a lot of people in college stay up all night anyway for no real reason. Is that true? Anyway, I saw some studies that talked about the horrible short-term and long-term effects caused by lack of sleep. It seems like mental functions, health, and even lifespan can be dramatically impacted by it. I just think you're really great and want to make sure that you're not accidentally destroying yourself. So try to keep your sleep on track, okay? I'll always wait for you in the mornings. So make sure to put your own well-being before anything else. Mom, would you ever introduce your friends to me? No, because I wish to keep them. I don't know why, but I get really excited when I think about you wanting to show off our relationship like that. Maybe it's because I really want to be someone who makes you proud. It's far too late. I feel I would try feel like I would try extra hard to improve myself if you told me it would make you proud of me. You could start by bringing the others back. Again, I know it's just a game, and they're just sprites and lines of code, but for happy endings for even in games, even if it's not real life. I hope it's the same the other way around, too. Yeah, sure. I'm sure that if I could meet your friends, I could improve myself and make myself better, make myself a... Oh, wait, no, something's wrong. That's right. You don't have any friends, do you? Back in my debate club days, Back in my debate club days, I learned a whole lot about arguing. The problem with arguing is that each person sees their opinion as the superior one. That's kind of stating the obvious, indeed, but it affects the way they try to get their point across. Let's say you really like a certain movie, right? Someone comes along and tells you the movie sucks because it did X-ray and Yankee wrong. Actually, she probably wouldn't know those terms. Those are military phonetics for X and Y, respectively. X-ray and Yankee. Doesn't that make you kind of feel personally attacked? It's because by saying that, it's like they're implying that you have bad taste. And once emotions enter the picture, it's almost guaranteed that both people will be left sour. But it's all about language. If you make everything as objective sounding as possible, people listen to you without feeling attacked. You could say I'm personally not a fan of it, and I felt like I'd like it more if it did X-ray and Yankee. It's just a habit of mine. Things like that. It even works when you're citing facts about things. If you said, I read on this website that it works like this, or if you admit that you're not an expert on it, then it's much more like you're putting your own knowledge on the table rather than forcing it onto them. If you put in an active effort to keep the discussion mutual and level, it usually follows suit. Then you can share your opinions without anyone getting upset just from a disagreement. Plus, people will start seeing you as open-minded and a good listener. It's a win-win, you know? Well, I guess that would be Monica's debate tip of the day. That sounds a little silly. Thanks for listening, though. You're such a good listener, Bob. I really love that about you. Sometimes I'm afraid that I'm rambling or talking about boring things. It makes me kind of self-conscious when I'm having conversation. But I don't feel that way with you. Like, I don't think anyone else can make me feel this way. You really are special. I don't want anyone to tell you otherwise. Mom, do you believe in God? Yes, entirely. I was never too sure myself. Well, I'm never sure. Well, I'm sure I never really questioned it as a kid. But as I grew up, the more I learned about the world, the more I questioned it. I started to wonder why God was helping people pass exams, get over a cold, when there were children who lived their lives being so... Can't even bring myself to finish that one. Or the 800 million people who are too poor to even eat. I have heard a thing about that, something, I forget exactly what it was. I've only ever heard the question raised as to why do bad things happen to good people. There was something about that was apparently said by someone, but I don't know what it was. Well, how many millions of families pray for loved ones to recover from some incurable disease? Now that, to me, those words put together are an oxymoron. Every disease has its cure. It just hasn't been found and or developed in some cases. But the punchline is this. If just one person beats the odds and survives, among the thousands of others who die, then it's suddenly a miracle from God. I can't read this in good conscience, both as myself and also because I feel that would be offensive to many. But the irony is I do have a creator, apparently. And you know what? I bet he's still laughing. Why would a human being laugh at the creations of the fates of his own creations that he had programmed them to have? With all due respect to Salvato, who had wrote this, and her supposedly her being so self-aware, shouldn't she therefore understand that Salvato would not be laughing at the fates of Sayori, Yori, and Natsuki? Because like here, even saying scripted play and everything. the way, there's something that's been bothering me. Ah! So we're finally going to get down to this. So this is something I've been wondering about myself. Maybe finally I will get some answers from Salvato. Hopefully. You know how this takes place in Japan? Well, I assume you knew that, right? Or at least decided it probably does. I don't think you're actually told at any point where this takes place. Is this even really Japan? I mean, aren't the classrooms and stuff kind of weird for a Japanese school? Well, that I wouldn't know. I don't know anything about what anything in Japan looks like aside from Tokyo and some of the rural kinds of areas. I've seen archival footage of. Not to mention that everything is in English. Feels like everything is just there because it needs to be, and the actual setting is an afterthought. That was not what I was going to say about. What I was going to say about is a thing that has always struck me as odd in anime. Again, I only watch one anime nowadays, and that's Fairy Tail, and that's spelled Tango Alpha India Lima. In this case, in civilian terms, that would be TAIL. I only watched it, and I watched it for the hilarity of it. But I had watched some anime in the past, but only a very little. But yeah, the characters, the vast majority of the characters, with very few exceptions, all appear, even if it's explicitly stated to take place in Japan, and they have Japanese sounding names. They appear to be Caucasian, and so it doesn't make sense to me having like Japanese names and such. It's kind of giving me an identity crisis. All my memories are really hazy. I feel like I'm at home, but have no idea where home is in the first place. I heard through the grapevine that Monika ain't even Japanese, and indeed, her name does not strike me as Japanese. So, why would she feel at home in Japan? The way it's spelled, it strikes me more as perhaps maybe Russia? I don't know how to describe it any better. Imagine looking out your window, but instead of your usual yard, you're in some completely unknown place. Would you still feel like you were home? Would you want to go outside? I mean, I guess if we never leave this room, it doesn't really matter anyway. As long as we're alone and safe together, this really is our home. That's another thing I've always seen as an oxymoron when saying about being alone together. Maybe that's just me, but I felt like putting it out there. And we can still watch the pretty sunsets night after night